Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. You might notice that the setup behind me looks a little bit different, and that is because I'm rearranging the plant room currently in preparations for the baby. We had to move some furniture out of my guest room, so something came in here, and that meant that on a random Wednesday night, I had to rearrange all of the furniture in this room. So it is still a little bit of a work in progress, but I have a fun new arrangement behind me. You can now see 3 cabinets instead of just 2. I still don't have lights for this one. Unfortunately, the ones I've been using for years are out of stock, and it doesn't look like they're gonna come back in stock anytime soon. So I think I might have to try out a different brand. It's really unfortunate. I like the ones that were in here. They are the same as the ones I have over here, but they died. So I have to do something about it. So I think this week I might just bite the bullet and order new ones for that. But today's video is not about the rearrangement of the plant room. Once it's all done and squared away, I will be doing a full plant room tour, and I'm really excited about that. But today is about my favorite houseplants for the month of January. So that means I'm gonna have to put Nutmeg down. I have some treats for him though, and he'll go hang out on some of the new furniture in here. He and Luna have been in here every single day, enjoying themselves, having the best time. So I don't think he's going to be too mad about that. But I will get started with the houseplants. The first one is this Parviflora Tala. UPT006. It's a Parviflora, it just is a really more silvery. A lot of them are splashy, but this one has a lot of silver. This I got from Plantita's Dreams last year, and it has been growing really, really well for me. I got it as a semi-rooted cutting, and it only had 2 leaves. It's grown 2 more for me. This one is still growing, isn't hardened off yet, but it's doing really, really well. I up-potted it into this little pot. It is not outgrown it yet, so that's good. I have some time, but I do think eventually I'll have to put it in a bigger pot. It's just a really nice Hoya. It puts up with underwatering really well, which is something that I appreciate. It's really cute for being little. This is really what I used to collect all the time, is just the tiniest, cutest little Hoyas, and I still love them. They're just really hard to care for when you don't have time. So I am hoping that it grows and it gets bigger, and really all of my tiny Hoyas do, so that I don't have as many tiny ones. But this one seems to really thrive on the neglect, basically, and it's doing really, really well. The emergent leaves are more of this purplish color here, and so are the backs of them. There you go, you can kind of see it. I don't want to break the leaf. So it's a little bit more purpley when it comes in, and then it fades out to this nice green silver. Really pretty plant overall. I just love it. I love a silvery Hoya. I love a splashy Hoya. I love small elongated leaves. So this is everything that I really could want in a little Hoya, and I just think it's so fun, and it's never not been doing well. So I figured it was about time I put it on one of these lists. Next plant is one that I actually got directly from UPT, and that is my Scindapsus mayari. And I am in love with this plant. I am so happy that it's finally growing again, and the new leaf has a decent amount of variegation. There's actually a lot in this bit that's still curled up. I'm not going to unfurl it because I don't want to break it, but I do think it's finally ready for a repot and a pole. So I'm very, very excited about that. I've been waiting for this for a long time to be able to put it on a pole. I've owned this plant for over a year now. There's really nice aerial roots starting to grow, so that will also fit nicely with a pole situation. If I put it on a pole sooner, I wouldn't have these empty nodes here, but I'm not gonna be too mad about it because it's growing, it's happy, it's got variegation. I'll be able to combine it with the other mayari that I bought just this past year at PlantCon, and I'll have a fuller plant. It'll look so happy and full together, and it'll be climbing, and hopefully I will get bigger leaves like this one or even bigger. I remember telling you guys all the time that this plant just would not grow for me, and now it's finally growing, so I am over the moon about it. I'm really enjoying having this plant in my collection. I'm such a Scindapsus girly now. They are really some of my favorite houseplants. I love how they shingle. I love the variegation. I love that they're silver. Scindapsus and Hoya are probably my 2 favorite types of plants to collect. Maybe also Epipremnum, because they're just so easygoing and they're so full and lush. But really, if I had to choose two types of plants to own, it would be Scindapsus and Hoya. And I don't think I could choose between the two of them because they're both just so precious. So this I really wanted to show y'all because I feel like you have gone through the journey of this plant with me, and it's finally getting to a point where this is a more established, happy plant. I think it'll be okay when I repot it and probably take it out of this cabinet where it is now. I think it'll live here with a lot of my other Scindapsus. I haven't fully decided what plants are gonna be on top of each of the cabinets yet. You can kind of see behind me, there's some plants there too. So there's gonna be some rearranging to do, and maybe this is part of the rearranging. I do have to now get it repotted because if I don't soon, we're just gonna have a lot more runners and legginess, and that's not gonna be fun. At least I have a leaf here and I can work with that, get this attached with the aerial roots, and it'll all be good. So I have a plan for this, but for now, I'm just really, really happy. I'll show y'all the leaf one more time so you can see it's a little bit more variegated than the last one, but this plant is just bringing me so much joy right now, and I feel like that's something I really needed from my houseplants. I mentioned epipremnum, so I'm gonna show y'all one. This is actually one of my guest bathroom plants. I have a lot of epipremnum in there. They just kind of trail on a shelf and they look really pretty. It's almost like a little living wall of plants. And this is an Enjoy Pearls and Jade type situation. I feel like this side is a bit different from this side. This has more flecks in it. This is solid white in between. So it's really hard to find ones that aren't mixed up these days. It's just a fact of collecting this pothos nowadays. I could separate out the strands, I guess, but I don't really care. So I'm just gonna leave it be. I think that it looks really full and lush and beautiful all together, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. It was a purchase I made. I bought quite a few just plants that I wanted to have trail at Tillery one time when I was there. They were really cheap. I think this was $4. I put it in a nice little pot and it's been growing really, really nicely. It was not trailing at all when I bought it last year, and now it's starting to trail off the pot. These do tell you when they're thirsty. It's actually really convenient for me because the leaves will start to feel, I just watered this the other day, so it's not thirsty at all, but they'll start to feel thinner and then they'll wilt. And it looks really dramatic, but I'll just water it and it's fine the next day. It's completely back to normal. So they can also tolerate some underwatering. If I really wanted to, I could put a saucer underneath to hold some extra water, but pothos are just so hardy that I don't always feel the need to do that. I really like it with this lighter pot combo. I think it accentuates the white on the plant really well. So it's just all around a really nice plant to have. I love having a pothos just hanging from a basket or sitting on a shelf. So this is all around just a really nice plant. I know it's super common. I know it's such a common plant, but I don't think we should hold that against our houseplants. I really like some of the common ones, and I'm finding myself trying to collect more common plants now than rare ones. They're more affordable. They're really easygoing for the most part. That's why they're so common, and you can just get bigger ones or more full ones more easily. They're so accessible and they're just a lot of fun. So when I first got into collecting houseplants, I actually was really, really into epipremnum, and some of them died in the move, or I just ended up putting one outside and certain things happened to them. And now I just really want to get back into collecting these epipremnum. And there's some rare ones too. There's some less common ones. So I might eventually start going after them. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy, no pun intended, I'm just going to enjoy the super common plants because they deserve it too. This next plant recently got some TLC, and that is my little baby Monstera albo. This is my third one, and I know the new leaf doesn't have a lot of variegation, but it looks like every other leaf has decent amounts of variegation on it. So I'm hoping the next one will be really nicely variegated. I still think it's super cute. Monstera albos are adorable when they're small. I recently upgraded it to this pot, which is way too big for it. It was in a 4-inch pot before I put it in here, but I think it'll be okay. We'll keep our fingers crossed. If it doesn't look so good, and I might have to put it in something smaller, but I think it'll be fine. I think Monstera albos actually like a lot of room to grow. I've up potted both of my other ones into much bigger pots than what they had before, and they don't even go into shock. This one didn't go into shock either. It's just such an easygoing plant to have, and I love collecting as many of them as I can because they're so much more affordable now. And there is also, speaking of the low variation here, there's a lot of white on the stem still. It's kind of hard to see, but I think it'll be okay. If it's not, I can always chop it. I already have another low variation elbow that just won't revert. I think it did. And then the new leaf came out with a lot more white than I thought it was gonna have. So you never know what's gonna happen with these plants. They're just really fun. They're easygoing. They don't grow too fast. I love plants that don't grow too fast. I really do. And for now, I gave it this pole. I don't give it the other kind of moss poles that I give those because all of my elbows are small form and they don't really attach in the same way that like a Scindapsus or a philodendron would, or some of my other Monstera. And so I find that they don't need to attach to size up. They just need to have support. So I'm giving it this for now, but I want to give it one of the other Coco Coir poles that is on one of my other elbows because that elbow outgrew its pole. So I'm gonna move it here. Once we get the whole situation, that one needs to get a new pole and then that pole can go over here. So it's just kind of a waiting game. This is a placeholder for now, but I think it looks really cute. What do you think? I think this setup just looks adorable right now. So I'm not even mad about it. It definitely was starting to climb and it needed some sort of support. So I'm glad that I gave it to this plant. I'm hoping we get more variation like this or like this leaf because I really like it. But for now, the every other leaf thing is what we're dealing with. And I was really worried this one was gonna be all green, but there's the tiniest sliver of white down here. Let me try to show you. The tiniest little sliver. So it's not reverting. I really don't think it's reverting. It's just, this leaf just didn't give me a lot to work with, but it's totally okay. I think it's super cute. Like I said, you can always just chop it up if it starts to revert, but I really don't think that'll happen. I've yet to have an elbow revert, and I bought one that was cheap because it was likely reverting and it still hasn't. So I think it'll be okay. I think this plant is absolutely adorable. For now, it's living up here, but it's probably gonna get moved as soon as it gets a larger pole because it's just not gonna fit up there. These elbows need really tall poles and they've all just become floor plants at this point. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it at all. I'll just put elbows in every corner of my house if I could because they're so fun and they're so easygoing. Nutmeg Break because he's just so cute. Lastly, I have a Hoya, and I genuinely don't think I have ever shown off this plant. I've never posted it on social media. I've never added it to one of these videos, and I don't know why. It's really cute. I mean, there's not a ton of leaves, but it's really cute. So this is the Species Affinity Lambii. This is what a leaf of that looks like. So splashy. So splashy, and it really hasn't done much since I bought it a year or two ago. Like, I don't even remember how long ago I bought this. It was one of the times I went to Nest Tropicals. I did buy it in person from her, and it did come with 2 original leaves. The other one rotted off weirdly, but then it just started growing more leaves, and it's been pretty dormant for a while. I up potted it. I added a cash pot recently, so we'll see what happens. It does have 2 different types of fertilizer in it as well, so I don't know why it's just not growing, but that's okay. Always just do that sometimes. It's got really nice textured leaves, just a slight texture to it, and then lots and lots of splash on all of them. This original leaf is a lot more elongated than the leaves that it's grown in my care. All 3 of these were in my care, and they're a lot more round. So I'm not sure. Really, I mean, this could have been an import leaf, and then this is what it's just doing for me in my environment. This is probably my favorite leaf. It's just really, really cute. You can see a little bit of texture by the way that the light hits it. It's not super rough, but it's definitely not a soft leaf. I'd say it's more on the rough side, and then sometimes it's got little bits of abs on it. So it's a really fun plant, and I don't think a ton of people talk about this one too much. Maybe if it stays dormant for a while, I'll chop off a leaf and propagate it and see if that'll encourage some growth, because I feel like I'm doing all the right things. got water, I've got 2 different types of fertilizer, it's got a trellis, so I don't think I'm doing anything wrong with it. It's just not growing the fastest. I could also move it. Sometimes if I move a plant to a different location in the plant room, the different lighting or humidity or whatever situation, sometimes it'll spur some new growth. I do have it in the Mills Boats Hall, but it doesn't have the most light in the section where it is located, where its home is. So maybe we just move it. Let me know what you think. Should I move this and see if it'll grow? Because I really don't think I'm doing anything wrong with it. But it could also just be dormant because it's winter, and sometimes they do that, even though there's not too much of a temperature difference in this room. There's a little bit. It does get cold because of the big floor to ceiling window, but it's not freezing. I wouldn't say it gets more than 10 degrees cooler in here at night, and that's only at night. It warms up just fine during the day. So that's this plant. I think it's really cute regardless. I think it's really fun. I'm trying to show off some of the plants in my collection that I don't show off as much, or some of them were more recent purchases at the end of last year, and I haven't had a chance to show them off yet. So that's mostly what I have here in my list today. I feel like I curated a good one. And then of course the Mayari, because that's just a really feel-good story for me, and I'm very happy about that. So that's it for my 5 favorite houseplants for the month of January. Nutmeg is ready to get out of here and probably eat a snack and then nap some more, because that's just all he does all day. But if you like this video, make sure to give Nutmeg and I here a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.